Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Quiet Practice. This is episode 4, The Art of Slowing Down, Stillness as a Strength. The world moves fast, faster every year. But the faster we go, the less we feel, the less we think, and the less we live. Welcome to the Quiet Practice. I'm Boyd Levitt, founder of Umbra Consulting, a host of Quiet Practice, also a father, husband, builder, and I'm a man who's learned the hard way that slowing down doesn't mean you're losing. It means you're finally catching up to yourself. We've built lives that never stop. We scroll, we refresh, we answer, we grind, and repeat. And somewhere between the noise and the notifications, we lose the ability to be still. And there was a season in my life where I couldn't sit still for 5 minutes. If I wasn't building, selling, helping, or fixing, I felt guilty. It, to me, felt like silence meant weakness. But here's the ultimate truth. Constant motion is often just disguised fear. Constant motion is often just disguised fear. And I want you to relate this back to yourselves. What is something within your life that you keep pushing through, you keep grinding through, you keep going through, and it just isn't getting better? You are essentially practicing insanity, doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. A lot of times in our lives, we build a hectic nature simply because if the moment that we stayed still, we wouldn't like how the silence responds to us. I have a great example of this. I had a person who I was coaching. She came up to me. She was dealing with constant burnout. And I told her she needs a sabbatical. She needs to take some time off. She needs to get away from work for a little bit, which anybody else listening to this is an entrepreneur, salesperson, an intrapreneur. You're going to automatically feel exactly the weight of what time off really means to somebody who is addicted to the grind. Time off is not as easy as it sounds. So for this person, a high achiever like she was, take me telling her, hey, you need a sabbatical. You need time off right now. Because her creativity was pretty much gone. She couldn't think outside of the box any longer. And it wasn't because of a lack of trying. It was really just a result of being flustered because there was too much stimuli coming in. She couldn't take a moment to relax, see the forest through the trees. The first 2 weeks of her sabbatical were torture. I got message probably 3 times a day from her. The rule was no texting, no emailing, but yet, for whatever reason, I still found myself with 30 unanswered emails, 12 text messages, and about 3 missed calls from this individual. The first 2 weeks were torture because she couldn't relax. She couldn't stop sending emails. She couldn't stop texting. She couldn't even stop calling. But the funny thing happened about week 3 of this sabbatical. She went kind of radio silent on me for a little bit. To be honest, I was a little freaked out. I was a little worried about her, so I reached out. She just responded with a text message of a thumbs up. But during that week 3, after she got back from the sabbatical and we talked, during week 3, she really hit her stride in the sense of being okay, being still. She had an intense amount of creativity come back week 3. By week 5, when she went back to work in the office, when she went back to work, her team said she was completely different. She was calmer, she was sharper, more present. By week 5, she was sleeping through the night again. First time in years that she wasn't waking up. And it made me wonder, this tremendous turnaround this individual had led to a really good boost in her career. But it made me want to ask the question, why do we fear stillness? I think stillness feels unnatural because we only profit off of our distractions. Whether that profit be dopamine hits, scrolling Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever. I almost think that it feels unnatural to be still because the world and society that we live in is anything but that. I think we fear stillness because we don't understand our attention is the best currency we're ever going to have. That our busyness gives us a false importance. And I think we fear stillness because the quiet tends to show us the truth. Stillness will show you the reality of your thoughts, your emotions, your direction. And most people would be exhausted rather than face that brutal, honest stillness. So I want to talk about something with you guys. It's called the power of the pause. And how I'm going to tie this back to Stoicism a little bit is, to be everywhere is to be nowhere. If you never stop, you never arrive. And it's one of those things that awareness brings control. And if you're aware of your emotions, your direction, your reality of your thoughts, you have a tendency to be more in control over those things, because ultimately control brings healing. Especially if you tie that with meditation, breathing exercises. A lot of people fear stillness because it brings pain, or they think it will. Pain of exhaustion, pain of honest truth. Ultimately, what you want is that awareness that it brings. So I want to talk about the power of the pause. Every powerful person I've met, a leader, an athlete, parent, soldier, has learned to use the pause. I'm talking about the pause between stimulus and response. The pause between anger and speech. The pause between failure and reaction. Where I believe going into week 10 of the NFL, and there's one person that always comes to my mind when I give this coaching about the power of the pause. And that's Tom Brady. Tom Brady was the ultimate person that you're going to want leading your team in a fourth quarter comeback, because he knew how to stay calm under pressure. He was asked once after the game, how do you stay so calm under this amount of pressure? And his response was simple: I slow the game down. That's mental stillness. That's mastering chaos through clarity. And if he can do it, you can do it. I want you to think of all the times in your life where things are hectic. A sale didn't go through, or a sale's about to go through and then they get finance denied. Or you put in your claim to underwriters and it comes back, their credit isn't good enough, right? I want you to think about those moments that you feel overwhelmed. I don't want you to speed up anymore. I want you to stop. I want you to breathe. I want you to let the dust learn. I want you to learn to let the dust settle before you move again. Because stillness, guys, is not a weakness. It's a recalibration. It's recalibration. So I want you to practice stillness. I want to teach you how to slow down without quitting. I want you to practice what I call micro moments of silence. 60 seconds between tasks. Once you get something done, instead of just simply running to the next thing, take a moment, breathe, stretch, pause, just sit there. Take a moment to breathe and then go on to the next task. Another way to practice stillness is I want you to do digital fasting. I know I said the worst thing in the world for a lot of people that are listening to this. Digital fasting. And yes, that means 1 hour per day without screen time. What this will do, it'll help reclaim your attention. If you take just 1 hour away from screens and you put that into something else, and you stack days doing that, you're eventually going to be an expert at whatever you're putting that hour back into. Because I promise you right now, you are spending more time on your screen than you even realize you're doing. But I want you to reclaim your attention. And I want you to practice intentional transitions. Before entering your home, take a breath. Before answering a call, center your tone. We've all had those moments, the ones that have a partner where they're talking to you, but you're half listening, and then they keep talking and you feel overwhelmed and your tone is just brutal. Anybody ever have their spouse say, "It's not what you said, it's how you said it"? This is why. You need to take a moment to learn how to center yourself before answering. A really good example of this is I had a single mom who I would speak to quite frequently. She asked me to help her. She just started a sales job and she knew nothing about sales, but she had 3 kids at home. And if anybody has 1 kid, you know how crazy that is. Now stack that multiples, right? And she was having this hard time because though we were going through the exact same coachings that I'm giving you guys now, what was going on was she was having a hard time with her nightly ritual. She's having a really hard time getting into that right frame of mind every night to self-reflect and things like that. So instead of taking the time to journal at night, do that first thing when you wake up. But at night, what I need you to do, especially working 2 jobs, one of those is a phone room job, not fun, not easy job at all. I need you at night to do this. I need you to be quiet. I need time for self-reflection. And I need you to tie that with some sort of external stimuli. I need you to tie that with either sounds of rain. I need you to just sit in a peaceful place. She goes, "Can I have a cup of tea?" I go, "Absolutely." I couldn't change her schedule because it was already so jam-packed, but I could change her strength within that schedule. It was actually kind of ironic when she started doing this and she started sleeping throughout the night. Her daughter actually started copying that ritual with her mom. And I thought that was so cool because her daughter would also make a cup of tea, sit with her mom. I think she was like 14, 15 years old at that point. But they would sit and they started doing this together. And that's legacy, guys. Teaching your kids how to be still is something that they need 10 times more than we do right now. Because if you think our lives move fast, their lives are moving 10 times faster. So it's good to teach that slowing down doesn't mean doing less. It just means doing what matters. So I want you to do these daily practices, and I'm going to give you 3 of them. The first one I call the 3x3 method. Take 3 deep breaths, 3 moments of gratitude, 3 things to let go. 2, the still start. I don't want you to touch your phone for at least the first 20 minutes of your morning. I want you to learn to let your mind arrive before allowing the world into your head. It's okay. The sun has risen. Everything's good. Leave your phone be for at least 20 minutes. Go downstairs, put on a pot of coffee, go get the mail. Before you know it, 20 minutes goes by. Trust me, it's going to help a lot. The third thing is also the reflection ritual. This is what we did with the lady who was working 2 jobs, one of them being a phone room job. I want you at night to ask, what did I rush today that deserved my patience? What did I rush today that deserved my patience? Now, for salespeople, very simple. What deal did you not close? Because typically, 9 times out of 10, you're not closing a deal because you rushed through it. Or you didn't meet the customer, or you didn't meet the customer where they're at, or you didn't do enough to build that rapport because you were rushing, right? Stillness doesn't happen by accident, guys. It's built by intention. So you need to be intentional with how you're starting your day, how you're ending your day. If you do that, you're going to be able to free up your mind to work more efficiently. In a loud world, quiet becomes power. Slowing down doesn't mean you've stopped moving. It means you've started living. This week, don't chase more. Chase presence. Let your focus return. Let your breath catch up. I'm Boyd Levitt, and this was The Quiet Practice. Next week, we're going to talk about the weight of comparison, why it's stealing your peace, and how to finally let it go. Until next week.